Captain Dae-ho Kim stood on the observation deck of Luna Station, watching Earth slowly turn below. The blue and green planet looked peaceful from this distance. No one could see the storms, earthquakes, or volcanoes that made life difficult down there. No one could see how hard humans had to fight just to survive on their own world. 3 months ago, humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel. Everyone thought it was the beginning of a new age. They thought humans would explore the galaxy and find new worlds to call home. What they found instead was that the galaxy already belonged to someone else. The communication device on Dae-ho's belt buzzed. A message was coming through from the Deep Space Monitoring Station. He walked quickly to the command center where his team was already gathering. Dr. Yuna Park looked up from her data screen. She was the best xenobiologist on Luna Station, which meant she studied alien life forms. So far, she had only studied theories and simulations. Today, that would change. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission from outside our solar system," she said. Her voice was calm, but Dae-ho could see the excitement in her eyes. "The signal is artificial, definitely from an intelligent source." Engineer Bo-Ram Lee was already working at the main console. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls as she tried to clean up the signal. "The transmission is using mathematical patterns we can understand," she said. "Whoever sent this wants us to decode it." Pilot Sujin Choi stood near the navigation charts. She was the youngest member of the team, but she had the best instincts for space travel that Dae-ho had ever seen. "Captain, this signal came from the direction of the Vega system. That is 12 light-years away." Medic Tae Min-yoon was checking his medical equipment. As the team's doctor, he always prepared for the worst. "If we are about to make first contact with aliens, we need to be ready for anything," he said quietly. The main screen flickered and then cleared. An image appeared that made everyone in the room step back. The being on the screen was unlike anything they had imagined. Its body seemed to be made of living crystal that sparkled with inner light. When it spoke, the voice came through as perfect English, though the mouth movements did not match the words. "Greetings, people of Earth," the crystal being said. "I am Ambassador Vexthul of the Hegemony Council. Your species has recently achieved faster-than-light travel. This means you are now ready to learn your place in the galactic community." Dae-ho felt a chill run down his spine. The way the alien said "your place" did not sound like an invitation. It sounded like a warning. "The galaxy is governed by the Hegemony Council," Vexthul continued. "We represent 12 ancient species that have ruled the stars for thousands of years. Every new species that reaches the stars must prove their worth through the trials of perilous worlds." Dr. Yuna Park was recording everything. Her scientific mind was already analyzing what they were seeing. "Captain," she whispered, "this being's body structure suggests it evolved in a completely different environment than Earth. The crystalline formation indicates high pressure and mineral-rich conditions. The trials will test your species in 5 different environments," Vexthul said. "Each world presents challenges that have been carefully designed to measure the survival abilities of spacefaring races. You will have 1 Earth year to complete all 5 trials." Engineer Bo-Ram Lee leaned toward Dae-ho.
"Captain, something about this does not feel right."
"Why would an advanced galactic civilization need to test us like this? Species that pass the trials earn their place in the galactic community," the alien ambassador continued. "They gain access to advanced technology, trade networks, and protection under hegemony law. Species that fail are restricted to their home systems. They are quarantined to prevent contamination of galactic civilization." Pilot Sujin Choi was studying star charts on her tablet. "Captain, I am calculating the distances to the systems they want us to visit. These are not exploration missions. The fuel and time requirements mean we would be committed to this path completely. The human species has been selected for immediate testing," Vexthul announced. "Your trials will begin in 30 Earth days. You will send a representative team of 5 individuals to face the challenges. Choose your team wisely. The future of your entire species depends on their success." Medic Tae Min-yoon checked his readings from the bioscanners. "Captain, this transmission is not just audio and video. They are sending data packets with detailed information about the trial worlds. The environmental conditions are extreme." The crystal being's image flickered slightly. "Be warned, humans of Earth. These trials have been conducted for millennia. Many species have failed. Some have been destroyed completely by the hostile environments. Others have survived but been broken in spirit. Only the strongest species earn the right to join the hegemony as equals." Deho stepped forward to address the screen directly. Ambassador Vexthul, what happens if we refuse to participate in these trials? The alien's crystal body seemed to pulse with brighter light. Refusal is considered an admission of unworthiness. Species that refuse the trials are immediately quarantined. Their solar systems are surrounded by automated defense networks. They never leave their home worlds again. Dr. Una Park was studying the data packets on her screen. Her face had gone pale. Captain, I am looking at the environmental readings from the trial worlds. Acid rain, crushing gravity, freezing temperatures, deadly radiation. These places are not just dangerous. They are designed to kill. You have 30 days to prepare, Vexthul said. The coordinates for the first trial world are included in this transmission. We will monitor your progress. Success will be measured not just by survival, but by adaptation and growth. The galaxy will be watching. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in silence. Everyone stared at the blank screen, trying to process what they had just heard. Engineer Bo-Ram Lee was the first to speak. Captain, this feels like a trap. Why would an advanced civilization need to put other species through death trials? Maybe, Deho said slowly. Because they are not as advanced as they want us to think. Maybe they stay in power by making sure no other species can challenge them. Dr. Una Park nodded. The data they sent includes information about previous trial attempts. Captain, the failure rate is over 90%. Most species do not survive the first world. Pilot Sujin Choi looked up from her navigation calculations. Captain, there is something else. The trial worlds are not random locations. They are positioned in a pattern that would give the hegemony control over major space lanes if they wanted to stop other species from expanding. Medic Tae Min. Yoon was reading medical data about alien physiology. Captain, I think I understand why they might be worried about humans specifically. The medical scans they took during this transmission show they were analyzing our biological structure. We are different from the species they are used to testing. Deho walked back to the observation window and looked down at Earth. The planet that had given humans ice ages and asteroid impacts, volcanoes and hurricanes, diseases and predators. The world that had forced his species to become tough, smart, and stubborn just to survive. They want to test us on dangerous worlds, he said quietly. They do not realize that we come from the most dangerous world of all. He turned back to his team. We are going to accept their challenge. But we are not going to play by their rules. We are going to show them what happens when Earth's children face impossible odds. The team began preparing immediately. They had 30 days to get ready for trials that had destroyed civilizations, but they had something those other species did not have. They had learned to survive on Earth. The ship Indomitable Spirit dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the first trial world. Through the viewport, Captain Dae-Ho Kim could see a planet covered in swirling yellow and green clouds. Lightning flashed constantly through the poisonous atmosphere. This was Chorus Prime, the acid storm planet. Atmospheric analysis complete, Dr. Una Park announced from her station. The rain is concentrated sulfuric acid. Wind speeds reach 200 kilometers per hour. The storms never stop. She looked up from her readings with concern. Captain, nothing should be able to live down there. Engineer Bo-Ram Lee was studying the planet's surface through long-range scanners. I am detecting the remains of structures on the surface. Metal frameworks that have been eaten away by the acid. These must be from previous trial attempts. Pilot Sujin Choi brought the ship into orbit around the planet. Captain, the Hegemony Monitoring Station is broadcasting on standard frequencies. They want us to acknowledge that we understand the trial rules. Captain Dae-Ho opened the communication channel. A new alien voice spoke through the ship's speakers. This one sounded like grinding metal. Human vessel, this is Commander Mordun of the monitoring station. You will land on the surface and survive for 90 days. Most species build shelters and wait for the trial to end. Your survival will determine if humans are worthy to join galactic civilization. Medic Taemin Yoon was checking his medical supplies. Captain, I have prepared protective suits and neutralizing agents for acid exposure. But we can only carry so much. If our equipment fails, we will be in serious trouble. Dr. Una Park was still reading the atmospheric data. Suddenly, her expression changed from worry to curiosity. Captain, wait. I need to run these numbers again. She worked quickly at her console. This is interesting. The acid composition is similar to what we find in volcanic regions on Earth. Similar how? Dae-Ho asked. The concentration is higher, but it is basically the same sulfuric acid that exists in Earth's most extreme environments. We have bacteria on Earth that actually eat this stuff for energy. Engineer Boram Lee looked up from her scanner readings. Dr. Park is right. I am seeing mineral deposits on the surface that suggest this planet has been artificially maintained in this condition. The storms are too regular, too consistent. You mean this is not natural? Pilot Sujin Choi asked. I think this planet was engineered to be a test, Boram replied. But whoever designed it did not study Earth's extreme environments. They created something that would kill most species, but not necessarily humans. Captain Daeho made his decision. We land in 2 hours. Dr. Park, I want you to collect samples of everything. Boram, start designing equipment to handle the acid conditions. Sujin, find us a landing site near those mineral deposits. Taemin, prepare for acid exposure treatment. The indomitable spirit descended through the poisonous atmosphere. Lightning struck the ship's hull repeatedly, but the human-built shields held. The landing was rough due to the constant wind, but pilot Sujin managed to set them down on a rocky plateau. The moment they opened the ship's external cameras, they could see the acid rain hitting the ground. It dissolved everything it touched, creating steaming puddles that ate through metal and stone alike. Protective suits on, Captain Daeho ordered, but we are not going to hide in the ship for 90 days. Dr. Yuna Park was the first to step outside. The acid rain hit her protective suit immediately, but the human-designed materials held up better than expected. This is incredible, she said over the radio. The acid is strong, but it is not the death sentence the aliens think it is. She knelt down and began collecting samples with specialized tools. Captain, this rain contains dissolved minerals that are extremely valuable. Iron, copper, rare earth elements. This planet is not a wasteland. It is a resource gold mine. Engineer Boram Lee joined her outside carrying equipment from the ship. Dr. Park is right. Look at these readings. The acid is breaking down the rock and concentrating valuable metals. This is like a natural mining operation. The monitoring aliens were watching through their sensors. Commander Morden reported back to his superiors with confusion. The humans are not seeking shelter. They are working in the acid storms. This behavior is unprecedented. Back on the planet's surface, the human team was adapting quickly. Medic Taimin Yoon had discovered that their protective suits could be repaired and improved using materials from the ship. The acid is actually helping us identify weak points in our equipment, he reported. We can make better gear by learning from the damage. Dr. Yuna Park made her first major discovery on the second day. Captain, I found something amazing. There are microorganisms in the acid rain. They are actually thriving in these conditions. Life forms, Daeho asked. Yes, but not just any life forms. These are similar to extremophil bacteria we have on Earth. They eat acid and produce useful byproducts. Captain, we could cultivate these organisms. Engineer Boram Lee was already thinking ahead. If we can grow those bacteria, we can use them to process the acid rain. Turn the storm into a resource instead of a threat. By the end of the first week, the human team had established something no previous species had managed. Instead of a desperate survival shelter, they built a processing facility. Boram had constructed acid-resistant equipment using principles learned from Earth's chemical industries. On Earth, we have been dealing with corrosive environments for centuries, she explained to the monitoring drones that came to observe. This is just industrial chemistry. Dr. Yuna Park had successfully cultivated the acid-eating bacteria in controlled environments. These organisms can break down the sulfuric acid and produce clean water, useful minerals, and even energy, she reported. The storm is not our enemy. It is our power source. Pilot Sujin Choi made the next breakthrough. She discovered that the constant lightning in the acid storms created unique electromagnetic fields. Captain, I can modify our ship's engines to use these fields as fuel. The planet's hostile environment can actually power our systems. The monitoring station was reporting increasingly alarmed messages to the Hegemony Council. The humans are not just surviving. They are building industry. They are treating the trial world like a colonization site. Captain Daeho stood outside the growing human facility, watching acid rain bounce off his improved protective suit. Commander Morden, we would like to send you our preliminary report on Koros Prime. Report? The alien commander's metal voice crackled with confusion. Yes, we have identified several ways to neutralize the acid storms and begin terraforming operations. This planet could support a large population with the right modifications. There was a long silence from the monitoring station. Finally, Commander Morden spoke. Humans, you are supposed to be surviving the trial, not improving the planet. Dr. Una Park stepped up to the communication device. Commander, we are surviving. We are surviving so well that we had extra time to study the environment. Did you know that your acid storms could be converted into a planetary power grid? Engineer Boram Lee joined the conversation. We have also developed techniques for processing the dissolved minerals. This planet could become a major industrial center with the right development. Furthermore, Medic Taemin Yoon added, we have created medical treatments for acid exposure that could help other species safely work in similar environments. Pilot Soo Jin Choi concluded their report. We have prepared detailed plans for atmospheric processing, resource extraction, and sustainable development. Would the Hegemony Council like copies of our research? The monitoring station went silent for several hours. When Commander Morden finally responded, his voice carried a tone the humans had not heard before. Uncertainty. Humans, you have completed the first trial. Prepare to depart for the second trial world. As the indomitable spirit lifted off from Koros Prime, it left behind something that had never existed before on a trial world. A functioning facility that could turn the planet's hostile environment into useful resources. Captain Daeho looked back at the acid storm planet through the viewport. 1 down, 4 to go, he said quietly. I wonder what impossible challenge they have planned for us next. Dr. Una Park was already studying data about their next destination. Captain, the second trial world has gravity 15 times stronger than Earth normal. Daeho smiled. Then we better start working out. The second trial world appeared on the view screen like a massive gray ball of metal and rock. Massive depths was 3 times larger than Earth and 15 times heavier. The gravity well was so strong that it bent light around the planet's edges. Gravitational readings confirmed, Pilot Soo Jin Choi announced from her station. Surface gravity is 15.2 times Earth normal. The atmospheric pressure is also extremely high. Dr. Una Park was studying biological data from previous trial attempts. Captain, the records show that most species are crushed immediately upon landing. Those that survive the initial impact cannot move effectively. They spend the entire trial period barely able to breathe. Engineer Boram Lee was running calculations on her computer. The gravitational stress will affect all our equipment. Metal fatigue will happen much faster. Our ship's hull is already showing strain just from orbiting this close. Captain Daeho Kim looked at the planet below. The surface was covered in strange geometric patterns that looked almost like roads or landing strips. What are those markings on the surface? Compression patterns, Boram replied. Previous trial ships that crash-landed under the heavy gravity. The metal gets pressed into the ground and forms those shapes. Medic Taemin Yoon was preparing medical supplies for extreme conditions. Captain, human bones can handle approximately 4 times Earth gravity before fracturing. At 15 times normal gravity, we are looking at potential skeletal damage within hours. The communication system activated. A new alien voice spoke to them, this one deep and rumbling like distant thunder. Human vessel, this is General Thakvar of the monitoring station. You will descend to the surface and survive for 90 days under crushing gravitational force. Previous species have required mechanical assistance just to remain conscious. Captain Daeho opened the communication channel. General Thakvar, we understand the trial conditions. Beginning descent now. As the indomitable spirit entered the atmosphere, everyone felt the gravity increase gradually. By the time they were halfway to the surface, moving their arms required serious effort. Soo Jin had to use both hands to operate the flight controls. Landing sequence initiated, she announced through gritted teeth. This feels like trying to fly while carrying 3 other people on my back. The ship touched down with a heavy thud that would have been gentle on Earth but felt like a crash landing under the massive gravity. Everyone was pressed deep into their seats, breathing heavily from the effort of simply staying upright. Environmental suits on, Captain Daeho ordered. But these are not spacesuits. These are strength suits. Engineer Boram Lee had spent the journey to massive depths designing specialized equipment. The exoskeletons will support your body weight and help with movement. But remember, we are not trying to cheat the gravity. We are adapting to it. Dr. Una Park was the first to attempt standing up. Even with the mechanical assistance, it took tremendous effort. This is like doing strength training with weights attached to every part of your body, she said. Exactly, Medic Taemin Yoon replied. And that gives me an idea. Captain, what if we treat this like extended physical conditioning? Daeho struggled to his feet, feeling like he weighed over a ton. Explain. Human bodies adapt to stress. Our bones become denser under pressure. Our muscles grow stronger when challenged. Instead of just surviving the gravity, we could use it to become stronger. The team stepped outside the ship carefully. Each movement required planning and effort. But something interesting happened after the first day. Their bodies began to adjust. Dr. Park was monitoring their biological responses. Captain, our bone density is increasing measurably. Our muscle fibers are adapting faster than any medical textbook says is possible. Humans evolved on a planet with variable gravity conditions, Medic Taman explained. Tidal forces from the moon, changes in elevation, carrying heavy loads across difficult terrain. Our bodies know how to handle gravitational stress. Engineer Bo-Ram Lee was making modifications to their equipment daily. I am not just building machines to fight the gravity. I am designing tools that use the gravity as an advantage. By the end of the first week, something unprecedented was happening. The human team was not just surviving the crushing gravity. They were functioning normally. General Thokvar reported to the Hegemony Council with growing alarm. The humans are adapting to the gravitational conditions. They are moving freely and conducting normal activities. This should not be possible. Captain Deho was leading daily exploration missions across the planet's surface. The heavy gravity made every step deliberate and powerful. General, we would like to report some interesting discoveries about massive depths. Discoveries? The alien general's voice rumbled with confusion. Yes. The gravitational conditions on this planet are perfect for certain types of manufacturing. Metal forging, crystal growing, precision engineering. The constant pressure creates ideal conditions for advanced material science. Dr. Park had been studying the planet's geology. General, we have also found that the high gravity concentrates valuable minerals near the surface. This planet is rich in rare elements that are difficult to mine under normal conditions. Engineer Bo-Ram Lee demonstrated her latest innovation. The gravitational field can be used to power mechanical systems without external energy. We have designed generators that run entirely on gravitational differential. Pilot Sujin Choi made the most surprising discovery. General, the massive gravitational field creates perfect conditions for launching spacecraft to other systems. The gravity well can be used as a slingshot for interplanetary travel. Furthermore, Medic Taman Yoon added, we have developed exercise and medical protocols that could help other species gradually adapt to high-gravity conditions. Physical conditioning that seemed impossible is actually achievable with the right approach. The monitoring station was silent for a long time. When General Thokvar finally responded, his voice carried the same uncertainty they had heard from Commander Morden. Humans, your adaptation to the gravitational conditions is outside normal parameters. How are you able to function under crushing force that destroys other species? Captain Deho was doing exercises that would have been impossible on Earth, but the heavy gravity made them natural. General, Earth taught us that the environment is not something to fight against. It is something to work with. Our planet has ice ages, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and asteroid impacts, Dr. Park explained. Humans learn to adapt because staying rigid means death. We do not see 15 times gravity as crushing force, Engineer Bo-Ram said. We see it as 15 times the opportunity to build stronger equipment and develop better techniques. The trial worlds are designed to test survival, Pilot Sujin observed. But humans do not just survive. We improve. As the 90-day trial period ended, the human team had accomplished something that amazed even themselves. They had not only adapted to the crushing gravity, they had thrived under it. Their bones had become incredibly dense and strong. Their muscles had developed beyond normal human limits. Their equipment had been refined into designs that could work under the most extreme conditions. Most importantly, they had proven something to the watching galaxy. Humans did not break under pressure. They became stronger. General Thokvar, we are ready to depart for the third trial world, Captain Deho announced. Humans, the alien general replied slowly. Your species continues to demonstrate capabilities that our models cannot predict. Prepare for the ice world. The cold there will freeze your bodies solid. As the indomitable spirit lifted off from massive depths, the crew felt strangely light in normal gravity. They had grown accustomed to the weight. They had made it part of themselves. 2 down, 3 to go, Deho said. What do you think they have waiting for us on the ice world? Dr. Park was already studying the data. Temperatures below -200 degrees Celsius. Constant blizzards. Atmospheric composition that is barely breathable. Captain Deho smiled. Sounds like a Canadian winner. Eternal ice hung in space like a white marble covered in swirling storms. The third trial world was completely frozen, with temperatures so low that the atmosphere itself fell as snow in some regions. Ice covered everything from the poles to the equator. Surface temperature readings are minus 203 degrees Celsius, Dr. Una Park reported from her station. The atmosphere is thin and contains almost no oxygen. Wind speeds reach 300 kilometers per hour during storm periods. Engineer Boram Lee was analyzing the planet's composition through sensors. The ice is not just water ice, Captain. There are layers of frozen carbon dioxide, methane, and other compounds. Some of these formations are kilometers thick. Pilot Sujin Choi guided the ship through the upper atmosphere, avoiding the worst of the ice storms. Captain, I am detecting what looks like structures beneath the ice. Geometric shapes that are too regular to be natural. Previous trial attempts, Captain Daeho Kim realized. Ships and equipment that got buried under the ice and frozen solid. Medic Tae-min Yoon was preparing cold weather gear. Captain, at these temperatures, human tissue will freeze within minutes of exposure. Our blood will turn solid. Even our breath will freeze before it leaves our lungs. The communication system activated with a new alien voice. This one high-pitched and musical like wind chimes. Human vessel, this is Elder HFY of the monitoring station. You will survive on the surface for 90 days in conditions that have frozen the life force from countless species. Most beings die within the first day. Captain Daeho opened the channel. Elder HFY, we understand the challenge. Beginning preparations for surface operations. As they descended toward the ice world, the temperature inside the ship began dropping despite the heating systems working at full power. Ice crystals formed on the viewports, making it difficult to see outside. Landing site selected, Sujin announced. I found a relatively flat area that appears to be near some kind of thermal vent. There might be slightly warmer conditions there. The ship touched down on the ice with a sound like breaking glass. Outside the viewports, they could see a landscape that looked like the end of the world. Nothing but white ice and gray sky as far as the horizon. Environmental suits on. Captain Daeho ordered. Full thermal protection. But remember what we learned on the previous worlds. We are not just trying to survive. We are trying to thrive. Dr. Una Park was studying readings from the thermal vent Sujin had found. Captain, this is interesting. The vent is producing heat and releasing gases that could support certain types of life. There might be liquid water beneath the ice. Engineer Boram Lee was already planning construction projects. If there is geothermal activity, we can use it for power and heating. I can design systems that work with the ice instead of fighting against it. The team stepped outside into a world of killing cold. Even with their protective suits, they could feel the temperature trying to steal the heat from their bodies. But they also felt something else. Determination. This reminds me of the polar research stations on Earth, Medic Tae-min Yoon observed. Extreme cold, limited resources, hostile environment. Humans have been living in these conditions for decades. Captain Daeho began establishing a perimeter around their landing site. The difference is that on Earth, we chose to go to the polar regions. Here we have to make this place our home. Dr. Una Park made the first important discovery. She found that the frozen compounds on the planet were not random. Captain, these ice formations contain organic molecules. Complex chemicals that could be used for energy or even food production. You mean there are resources here? Daeho asked. Yes. The planet looks dead, but it is actually a storage facility for useful materials. The extreme cold has preserved compounds that would break down under normal conditions. Engineer Boram Lee began construction of their first permanent structure. Instead of building a simple shelter, she designed an underground complex that used the ice itself as building material. Ice is an excellent insulator when used properly, she explained to the monitoring drones that came to observe. On Earth, people have built entire cities using ice construction techniques. By the end of the first week, the human team had created something that amazed the alien observers. They had not just survived in the deadly cold. They had built a thriving settlement. The underground complex used geothermal energy for power and heating. Dr. Una Park had established growing areas where earth plants were being cultivated using nutrients extracted from the frozen organic compounds. Medic Tae-min Yoon had developed medical protocols for extreme, cold survival that could help other species adapt to ice world conditions. The key is gradual exposure and proper nutrition, he explained. Human bodies can adapt to almost any environment if given time and the right support. Pilot Sujin Choi made an unexpected discovery while exploring the planet's surface. Captain, the ice formations here are not just random. They form natural landing and launching platforms. This planet could be used as a way station for interstellar travel. Elder HFY was reporting increasingly worried messages to the Hegemony Council. The humans are not just surviving the ice world. They are building permanent structures. They are treating it like a colonization site. Captain Daeho was leading daily expeditions across the frozen surface, hunting the small creatures that lived in the thermal vents. Elder, we would like to share some discoveries about eternal ice. Discoveries? The musical alien voice carried notes of confusion. Yes, this planet is not a frozen wasteland. It is a preserved ecosystem. The extreme cold has created perfect storage conditions for valuable resources. Dr. Yuna Park demonstrated the growing areas she had established. Elder, we have successfully cultivated food crops using local resources. The ice world can support sustainable agriculture with the right techniques. Engineer Boram Lee showed off the construction techniques she had developed. The ice itself can be used as building material for permanent structures. We have designed heating and power systems that work efficiently in extreme cold conditions. Furthermore, Medic Taemin Yoon added, we have developed medical treatments for cold exposure that could allow other species to safely work in similar environments. Pilot Sujin Choi concluded their report. Elder, we have mapped optimal locations for spaceports and supply stations. This planet could become a major hub for deep space exploration. The monitoring station went silent for hours. When Elder HFY finally responded, the musical voice carried harmonics of disbelief. Humans, your adaptation to the ice world exceeds all previous records. How do you survive in conditions that freeze the very air you breathe? Captain Daeho was outside in the killing cold, but his improved equipment and conditioning made it manageable. Elder, humans come from a planet that has ice ages. We learned to survive when our entire world was covered in ice. Our ancestors walked across frozen continents carrying everything they owned. Dr. Yuna Park explained. Cold weather is not our enemy. It is just another environment to master. We do not see minus 200 degrees as impossible conditions, Engineer Boram said. We see it as perfect conditions for preservation, storage, and specialized manufacturing. The trial worlds test survival, Pilot Sujin observed. But humans have always done more than just survive. We build, we grow, we improve. As the 90-day trial period ended, the human settlement on eternal ice had become something unique in galactic history, a thriving community in conditions that were supposed to be instantly lethal. The team had not only survived the killing cold, they had created techniques that could turn ice worlds into valuable assets. Agriculture, manufacturing, research, and transportation hubs in places other species considered impossible to visit. Elder HFY, we are ready to depart for the fourth trial world, Captain Daeho announced. Humans, the alien elder replied with musical tones of amazement. Your species defies every prediction our models can make. Prepare for the radiation world. The energy there will burn away your very molecules. As the indomitable spirit lifted off from eternal ice, the crew looked back at the settlement they were leaving behind. Lights glowed warmly in the underground complex, and they could see the growing areas where earth plants were thriving in impossible conditions. 3 down, 2 to go, Daeho said. What do you think a radiation world will throw at us? Dr. Yuna Park was studying the data about their next destination. Gamma radiation from a nearby pulsar, energy levels that would sterilize most planets, electromagnetic storms that destroy electronic equipment. Captain Daeho nodded thoughtfully. Sounds like working in a nuclear power plant. Gamma Hell appeared on the view screen as a world wrapped in sheets of deadly light. The fourth trial world orbited close to a pulsar that bathed the entire system in lethal radiation. Even from a safe distance, the ship's sensors were being overwhelmed by the energy bombardment. Radiation readings are off the scale, Dr. Yuna Park announced from her station. Gamma ray intensity is 1,000 times higher than anything we have ever measured. The electromagnetic pulses are constant. Engineer Boram Lee was watching her instruments fail one by one as they approached the planet. Captain, the radiation is interfering with our electronic systems. I am having to switch to hardened backup equipment. Pilot Sujin Choi was struggling to maintain their approach vector as the pulsar's energy waves buffeted the ship. "Captain, the radiation pressure is actually pushing us away from the planet. It is like trying to fly into a hurricane made of pure energy." Medic Tae Min-yoon was preparing radiation shielding equipment. "Captain, exposure to these radiation levels will cause cellular damage within minutes. Most biological tissue will break down at the molecular level." The communication system crackled with interference before a familiar voice came through. "Human vessel, this is Commander Morden returning to monitor your progress. You will survive on the surface for 90 days under constant gamma radiation bombardment. Previous species have died within hours of exposure." Captain Dae-ho Kim opened the communication channel. "Commander Morden, we remember you from the acid planet. We are ready to proceed with the trial." "Humans," the metal voice replied. "This is different from the previous worlds. Radiation cannot be adapted to or overcome. It destroys the basic building blocks of life itself." As the indomitable spirit descended toward Gamma Hell, the radiation levels continued to increase. The ship's hull began to glow with induced energy, and strange lights danced across the viewports. "Landing site selected," Sujin announced. "I found an area that appears to have some natural shielding from rock formations. The radiation there is only moderately lethal instead of instantly deadly." The ship touched down with systems sparking and alarms sounding. Outside, they could see a landscape that seemed to be on fire with invisible energy. The very air glowed with radiation-induced luminescence. "Radiation suits on," Captain Dae-ho ordered. "Full protection protocols. But remember what we have learned. Every impossible challenge has a solution." Dr. Yuna Park was monitoring radiation levels through her shielded instruments. "Captain, these readings are similar to what we would find in the core of a nuclear reactor. Deadly to most life, but not unprecedented on Earth." Engineer Bo-ram Lee was already thinking about construction techniques. "If we can handle nuclear power plants and uranium mines, we can handle this. We just need better shielding and radiation management protocols." The team stepped outside onto a world bathed in killing radiation. Their suits immediately began registering exposure, but the human-designed protection systems held up better than expected. "This is like working in a nuclear facility," Medic Tae Min-yoon observed. "Dangerous but manageable with the right precautions and procedures." Captain Dae-ho began establishing a secure perimeter around their landing site. "The key is not to avoid the radiation completely. That is impossible. The key is to manage it safely." Dr. Yuna Park made the first breakthrough discovery. She found that certain Earth bacteria in their biological samples were not just surviving the radiation, they were thriving. "Captain, these organisms are using the gamma rays as an energy source." "You mean they eat radiation?" Dae-ho asked. "Yes, these are extremophile bacteria that evolved near natural nuclear reactors on Earth. They can break down radioactive materials and use the energy for biological processes." Engineer Bo-ram Lee began construction of their radiation management facility. Instead of building simple shelters, she designed reactors that could harness the ambient radiation as a power source. "On Earth, we learned to turn nuclear energy into electricity," she explained to the monitoring drones. "This planet is just a very large nuclear power plant." By the end of the first week, the human team had accomplished something that seemed impossible. They were not just surviving in the radiation bath, they were using it to their advantage. Dr. Yuna Park had successfully cultivated radiation-eating bacteria in controlled environments. These organisms can break down radioactive materials and produce clean energy and useful byproducts. Engineer Bo-ram Lee had designed power systems that ran entirely on ambient radiation. The gamma rays can be converted directly into electricity using modified photovoltaic principles. This planet is an unlimited power source. Medic Tae Min-yoon had developed medical protocols for radiation exposure that exceeded anything previously known. The key is controlled exposure combined with biological enhancement. Human radiation resistance can be improved dramatically with the right treatment. Pilot Sujin Choi made the most surprising discovery. "Captain, the pulsar's radiation emissions create navigation beacons that can be detected across the galaxy. This system could be used as a cosmic lighthouse for interstellar travel." Commander Morden was reporting increasingly frantic messages to the Hegemony Council. "The humans are not dying from the radiation. They are building industrial facilities. They are treating the gamma rays as a resource." Captain Dae-ho was working outside in conditions that should have killed him instantly, but his improved protective equipment and conditioning made it possible. Commander, we have some interesting observations about Gamma Hell. Observations? The alien commander's metal voice carried tones of disbelief. Yes. This planet is not a radiation wasteland. It is an energy production facility. The gamma rays from the pulsar provide unlimited clean power. Dr. Una Park demonstrated the bacteria cultivation systems she had developed. Commander, we have identified organisms that can safely process radioactive materials. This could revolutionize waste management for nuclear civilizations. Engineer Boram Lee showed off the power generation systems she had built. The radiation can be converted into electricity, heat, and other useful forms of energy. This planet could power entire star systems. Furthermore, Medic Taemin Yoon added, we have developed medical treatments that can enhance biological radiation resistance. Species that cannot normally survive in radioactive environments could be safely adapted. Pilot Soo-Jin Choi concluded their report. Commander, the pulsar creates perfect navigation reference points for deep space travel. This system could become a major hub for interstellar commerce. The monitoring station was silent for a long time. When Commander Morden finally responded, his voice carried the mechanical equivalent of amazement. Humans, your resistance to lethal radiation violates basic biological principles. How do you survive energy that breaks apart molecular structures? Captain Daeho was outside working on equipment maintenance in a radiation field that would instantly kill most aliens. Commander, Earth has natural background radiation. Our sun bombards us with energy. We evolved in a radioactive environment. Humans developed nuclear technology before space travel, Dr. Una Park explained. We learned to work safely with radioactive materials decades ago. We do not see gamma radiation as a death sentence, Engineer Boram said. We see it as a powerful energy source that needs proper management. The trial worlds test survival, Pilot Soo-Jin observed. But humans turn every challenge into an opportunity for improvement. As the 90-day trial period ended, the human facility on Gamma Hell had become something unprecedented. A thriving industrial complex powered entirely by lethal radiation, producing energy and materials that could benefit the entire galaxy. The team had not only survived exposure to deadly gamma rays, they had created technologies that could turn radioactive worlds into valuable assets for any civilization. Commander Morden, we are ready to depart for the final trial world, Captain Daeho announced. Humans, the alien commander replied with mechanical undertones of confusion. Your species has survived 4 trials that were designed to be impossible. The final test is different. It will not try to kill your bodies. It will try to corrupt your souls. As the indomitable spirit lifted off from Gamma Hell, the crew looked back at the facility they were leaving behind. Lights powered by pure radiation glowed across the complex, and they could see the processing plants, where deadly gamma rays were being converted into useful energy. 4 down, 1 to go, Daeho said. What do you think they mean by corrupting our souls? Dr. Una Park was studying data about their final destination. The coordinates point to a world called Dominion Prime. According to the limited information available, it is the most beautiful and comfortable planet in the galaxy. Captain Daeho frowned. After acid, crushing gravity, freezing cold, and deadly radiation, they want to test us with comfort? Maybe, Medic Taemin Yoon suggested. The most dangerous trap is the one that does not look like a trap at all. Dominion Prime appeared before them like a jewel floating in space. The 5th and final trial world was breathtakingly beautiful, with blue oceans, green continents, and white clouds swirling in perfect patterns. It looked more welcoming than Earth itself. Atmospheric readings show perfect conditions for human life, Dr. Una Park announced from her station. Oxygen levels are ideal. Temperature is comfortable. No storms, no radiation, no dangerous conditions of any kind. Engineer Boram Lee was scanning the planet's surface with growing amazement. Captain, I am detecting cities that are more advanced than anything we have ever seen. Architecture that seems to blend perfectly with the natural environment. This place looks like paradise. Pilot Soo-Jin Choi guided the ship toward the planet with ease for the first time in months. Captain, this is the easiest approach we have made. No atmospheric interference, no gravitational anomalies, no environmental hazards. It is almost too good to be true. Captain Daeho Kim stared at the beautiful world below and felt a chill of suspicion. After everything we have been through, why would the final trial be on a perfect planet? Medic Taemin Yoon was checking his medical sensors and finding no threats. Captain, my instruments show no biological hazards, no toxic compounds, no dangerous organisms. This world appears to be completely safe. The communication system activated with multiple alien voices speaking in harmony. Human vessel, welcome to Dominion Prime. We are the Hegemony Council. You have completed 4 trials and proven your species has remarkable survival abilities. Captain Daeho opened the communication channel. Hegemony Council, we are ready to face the final trial. The final trial is different, the harmonious voices continued. You will not face hostile environments or deadly conditions. You will face something far more challenging. You will face temptation. As the indomitable spirit descended toward the beautiful planet, they were greeted by escort ships that looked like works of art. The landing platform they were guided to was made of materials that seemed to glow with inner light. Landing sequence complete, Sujin announced. Captain, there are representatives from all 12 hegemony species waiting to meet us. The team stepped outside into air that tasted sweeter than anything they had ever breathed. The gravity was perfect. The temperature was ideal, and gentle music seemed to float on the breeze from hidden sources. A delegation of aliens approached them, each more magnificent than anything they had encountered before. Ambassador Vexthul was there, his crystal body sparkling in the perfect sunlight. Commander Mordoon had polished his metal form until it gleamed like silver. Elder HFY floated above the ground, energy patterns dancing through the air around her. Welcome, humans of Earth, Ambassador Vexthul said, his voice now warm and welcoming instead of cold and official. You have accomplished something remarkable. You have survived trials that have destroyed countless civilizations. We are impressed by your species' abilities, Commander Mordoon added, his metal voice now carrying tones of respect. Your adaptation to impossible conditions exceeds our greatest expectations. Elder HFY's musical voice played harmonies of admiration. Your ingenuity and determination have proven that humanity deserves a place among the galactic powers. Captain Daeho felt his team's excitement, but his own suspicion was growing stronger. Thank you for your words. What is the nature of the final trial? There is no trial, a new voice said. A being approached that seemed to be made of pure starlight, beautiful beyond description. I am Supreme Counselor Lumthara. The trials are over. Now comes your reward. Dr. Yuna Park found herself staring at wonders that defied scientific explanation. Plants that grew in impossible geometries, water that flowed upward in spiraling streams, creatures that seemed to be made of living light. Engineer Boram Lee was offered technology that could reshape matter at the molecular level, create energy from nothing, and build cities that floated in the air without visible support. Medic Taemin Yoon was shown medical techniques that could extend life indefinitely, cure any disease, and enhance biological abilities beyond natural limits. Pilot Sujin Choi was given access to navigation systems that could travel instantly between any 2 points in the galaxy, opening up unlimited exploration possibilities. All of this can be yours, Supreme Counselor Lumthara explained. Advanced technology beyond your wildest dreams. Immortality for your entire species. Power over star systems and galactic trade routes. Captain Daeho listened to the offer and felt something cold settle in his stomach. What is the cost? No cost, Ambassador Vexthul assured him. Only acceptance. Your species will join the Hegemony Council as our partners. You will help us guide and test other emerging civilizations. You mean we would put other species through the trials we just survived? Dr. Yuna Park asked. Of course, Commander Mordoon replied. The trials maintain order in the galaxy. They ensure that only the strongest species advance to positions of power. Elder HFY's musical voice added harmonious agreement. The trials have worked for millennia. Weak species are contained in their home systems where they cannot cause problems. Strong species join us in ruling the galaxy. Captain Daeho looked around at the impossible beauty of Dominion Prime, and understood what he was seeing. This is not a reward. This is a trap. Captain? Sujin asked, still mesmerized by the navigation technology she had been shown. Look around you, Deho said quietly. Perfect planet, unlimited power, immortality, advanced technology, everything we could ever want. But what happens to the species that fail the trials? Dr. Yuna Park's scientific mind began working through the implications. They get quarantined in their home systems, cut off from galactic civilization. Forever, Medic Tae-min Yoon realized. Never allowed to grow or advance or explore. Engineer Bo-ram Lee looked at the impossible technology she had been offered with new understanding. This entire system is designed to keep most species as prisoners while a few rule over them. The trials are not tests of worthiness, Captain Deho said. They are elimination systems. Most species are meant to fail. Supreme Counselor Lumthara's starlight form flickered with annoyance. You speak as if this is wrong. Order must be maintained. The strong must guide the weak. No, Captain Deho said firmly. The strong should help the weak become stronger. You reject our offer? Ambassador Vexthul asked with disbelief in his crystal voice. We reject your system, Dr. Yuna Park replied. Science should be shared freely. Knowledge should help everyone advance. We reject your technology, Engineer Bo-ram added. Tools should be used to build up civilizations, not control them. We reject your immortality, Medic Tae-min Yoon said. Life has meaning because it is limited and precious. We reject your power, Pilot Sujin concluded. Exploration should open doors for everyone, not just a chosen few. The beautiful aliens stood in shocked silence. Supreme Counselor Lumthara's starlight form grew brighter and more menacing. You would give up everything. Power, technology, eternal life. For what? Captain Deho looked at his team and saw the same determination that had carried them through. Acid storms, crushing gravity, killing cold, and deadly radiation. For the chance to help other species avoid the traps we just walked through. For the opportunity to share what we learned instead of hoarding it, Dr. Yuna Park added. For the right to build a galaxy where cooperation matters more than domination, Engineer Bo-ram said. For a future where every species gets the chance to grow and explore, Medic Tae-min Yoon declared. For a galaxy where the trials become cooperative missions instead of elimination tests, Pilot Sujin Choi finished. The Hegemony Council members looked at each other with expressions of confusion and growing anger. Supreme Counselor Lumthara's starlight form pulsed with dangerous energy. You are making a terrible mistake, she said. Without our guidance, the galaxy will fall into chaos. Weak species will destroy themselves and others. Maybe, Captain Deho replied, but that is their choice to make, not yours. You cannot leave, Commander Mordun declared, his metal voice now carrying threat instead of respect. You know too much about our system. You could spread dangerous ideas to other species. Try to stop us, Doctor, Yuna Park challenged. We survived your worst trials. We can handle whatever you throw at us next. The beautiful paradise around them began to change. The perfect gardens became prison walls. The gentle music became alarm sirens. The welcoming atmosphere became oppressive and threatening. This is what your paradise really is, Engineer Bo-ram Lee observed. A beautiful cage for species that accept your control. The human team fought their way back to their ship through obstacles that seemed designed more to test their resolve than actually stop them. Energy barriers, maze-like passages, and illusions that tried to make them doubt their decision, but they had learned something important during their trials. Every impossible challenge could be overcome with determination, creativity, and teamwork. Ship launching in 60 seconds, Pilot Sujin Choi announced as they reached the indomitable spirit. Wait, Elder Kephari's musical voice called out. If you leave now, your species will be marked as enemies of the hegemony. You will be hunted across the galaxy. Captain Deho paused at the ship's entrance. Elder, we are not your enemies. We are your teachers. We are going to show the galaxy that there is a better way. What better way? Supreme Counselor Lumthara demanded. Cooperation instead of domination. Dr. Unipark replied. Sharing knowledge instead of hoarding it. Teaching survival skills instead of creating death traps, Engineer Boram Lee added. Helping species grow stronger instead of keeping them weak, Medic Tae Min Yoon said. Opening the galaxy for everyone instead of reserving it for a few, Pilot Sujin Choi concluded. The indomitable spirit lifted off from Dominion Prime as the Paradise world revealed its true nature. A prison planet designed to corrupt the strongest species and turn them into jailers for everyone else. But something unexpected happened as they escaped the planet's gravity well. Other ships began appearing around them. Not hegemony vessels, but ships from species that had supposedly failed the trials. Captain, Sujin reported with excitement, we are receiving communication requests from dozens of different species. They have been monitoring our transmissions during the trials. Dr. Unipark worked quickly at her communication station. Captain, species from across the galaxy have been watching us. They saw how we turned the trial worlds into opportunities instead of just surviving them. Human vessel, a new alien voice came through their speakers. This is Captain Zethkol of the Benthic Collective. Our species failed the Ice World trial 50 years ago. We have been quarantined ever since. Your techniques for cold weather survival could free our people. This is Engineer Vormak of the Silicon Brotherhood, another voice added. We failed the gravity trial. Your adaptation methods could allow our species to explore high-gravity worlds we have never been able to visit. More voices joined in from across the galaxy, species that had been written off as failures, locked away in their home systems, forgotten by the Hegemony Council. This is what the Council was really afraid of, Captain Daeho realized. Not that we would fail the trials, but that we would show other species how to succeed. Captain, Engineer Boram Lee said with growing excitement, we have requests for technical assistance from over 100 different civilizations. They want to learn human survival techniques. Dr. Unipark was coordinating with alien scientists across the galaxy. Captain, we can establish the Galactic Cooperation Institute. Share our research freely with any species that wants to learn. Medic Tae Min Yoon was already planning medical exchange programs. We can develop interspecies medical protocols. Help aliens adapt to environments that were previously impossible for them. Pilot Sujin Choi was mapping new trade routes and exploration paths. Captain, if we teach navigation techniques to quarantined species, they can break free from their prison systems and explore the galaxy. The Hegemony Council had created a system designed to maintain their power by keeping other species weak and divided. But humans had accidentally done something revolutionary. They had shown the galaxy that cooperation was stronger than domination. Set course for Earth, Captain Daeho ordered. We have work to do. As the indomitable spirit jumped to faster than light speed, they left behind a galaxy that was already beginning to change. The trial worlds were being transformed from death traps into cooperative training facilities. Species that had been enemies for millennia were sharing technology and knowledge. The artificial scarcity that maintained hegemony control was crumbling as species learned to turn hostile environments into useful resources. Captain, Dr. Unipark said as they traveled home, I think we just started a galactic revolution without meaning to. Good, Daeho replied. Earth taught us that the best way to survive is to help others survive too. Maybe it is time the galaxy learned that lesson. The story ended not with humanity conquering the stars, but with humanity teaching the stars how to become home for everyone. The trials that were meant to eliminate competition had instead created the greatest cooperation in galactic history. And at the center of it all were 5 humans who had learned on a dangerous planet that the strongest response to impossible challenges was not just to survive them, but to turn them into opportunities for everyone to thrive.